Thanks for tuning in to Friday with Friends. Friday with Friends is our opportunity to talk about what's going on in the market, to answer any questions you might have, so that if you have any real estate needs, we would love the opportunity to be your realtor of choice.
Yes, exactly. So we have a very exciting topic today. We are here talking about the top 5 mistakes that sellers might make, and we are here to show you how to not make them.
Because when you know the mistakes, you can plan for them. Because sometimes the mistakes you've made, by the time you've made them, you can't do anything about them. And that's why we want to try to be on the forefront of the conversation so that you know going in, so that it's something that maybe we catch you early, or maybe it's something that we catch you before, we can't redirect them.
Exactly. So let's jump right into it. So number 1 is you don't ask friends or family for a referral for a realtor that they and you respect.
And a lot of times, by the time someone may come to us, maybe they've been to another realtor. And sometimes we hear like, well, how did you find that previous realtor? And there is a lot of places online where realtors will pay and spend their money in order to connect with you. So things like Zillow or Truly are third-party sites where you request some information on a home, and it's the agent that paid the most is the one that's going to call you. And sometimes that might not be someone who works with your style. When you have friends and family who you respect and whose style is similar to yours, you know that that's going to be a good match. It's not that that other agent isn't a great agent, it's that they may not connect with you in the way that you need your realtor to.
Definitely. So reaching out to friends and family who know you well and have bought and sold real estate in the past is always a great idea to make sure that you have a good fit. And what is it? Like 90% of our team is referral based. So we love working with our friends and family, and then their friends and family and clients and all of that.
Because when we love the clients,
we love their friends.
We love their friends. We're like, oh my gosh, are we all best friends?
Exactly.
And it works because you have to have that. So if you aren't asking around, you might set yourself up where you are in relationship with an agent that doesn't mesh well with you.
Definitely. And especially in a seller's market, it's really important that you have a realtor on your side that you can trust. Hey, maybe a friend on your side. Especially in this market, because really you could take a piece of cardboard and write for sale and pop it in the front yard and you would probably sell your home. But were they aggressive enough? How many offers did you receive? How were the terms? Yes, you might sell your home, but you could have gotten A, B, C, and D that were on your goals list that they didn't fight for. So it's really important, whether you're looking for a buyer's agent or a listing agent, that you have someone that you know, because maybe you got a referral from a friend or a family member.
And it's really incredible when we are talking to some other people are in other situations, they're like, I got a great offer. And we're like, oh, awesome. And they're saying, but I just have to move twice. And I just have to leave this. And I just have to fix this boiler. And we could have said, oh my goodness, we could have gotten you a post-possession. We could have managed the fact that there was an appraisal gap and now you didn't have to reduce your price. There are so many pieces that when you have a professional realtor who works for you in that particular way, that can not just save you money, but can also make the transaction super smooth.
Yes, that is so important. So what is number 2?
Number 2 is I'm gonna reach out when I get closer. And when you get closer to that time, sometimes it's fine. And you might be that person that has the picture perfect home, your furnace is new, your hot water tank's new, your roof is brand new.
All fresh paint, all new flooring, staged perfectly.
Perfect. You might be that person. But most of the time you're not. And that's fine. And those are our people.
We're not.
And that's where when we are talking with our sellers, please reach out right away. If you are going to sell your house in the next few years, do not wait to enter into conversation with your realtor. One, like we talked about before, is you can interview them. You can really start to see if this is the right fit, because the worst thing in the world is you want to list your home, but you don't have time to interview another agent, or you meet with someone and it's not the perfect fit. You're then stuck because you need to move quickly. So not only that, but there's so much you can do in the meantime when you are starting that conversation early.
And we always joke that a lot of our sellers, when we meet with them, they say, okay, well, Abby, we've got a whole laundry list of things that we need to do. When in reality, it might just be the top 3 things. And you would have spent your time, money, and energy doing those other 15 things when all you had to do was focus on the top 3.
And you just watch the client's relief, like, oh my gosh, I don't have to get a new toilet. And it's like, no one cares about about your toilet.
Yes.
Now, someone might care about your toilet, and if so, that's going on the list. But the majority of the time, we can go through to be able to say, to give you that list that you have for the next 365 days that you're going to work on, that doesn't have to be done based on the market that we're in.
Definitely. And a lot of our clients, when they start early, they have the opportunity to have a full summer where they can really tidy up the yard, and they have a full winter where they can really organize their closets. They have time to get that to-do list tackled. And also, we have our professional photographer that we use for all of our listings, where we can come and take pictures in the summer if your plan is to list in the fall. But if we don't meet early enough, we can't set up that game plan. So that's what we love, is when we're able to list a home in December with summer pictures. And you just get that warm and fuzzy feel where you've got green grass, blue skies, the pool is open, things like that.
And it's so important to be able to be having those conversations, because maybe you're like, listen, there's a week in May where my rhododendrons are in bloom, and we definitely need to take a photo. Then it's mine, it's me. There could be that where I'd be like, this is the week that I want to make sure that I'm doing that, because maybe I'm listing in July, but I still want those pictures in May. And we can start to have those conversations. Or maybe you love, there's lake view in the winter, or maybe there's something that you love in the winter that we want to make sure we're capturing that too. So when you're starting early, you're having those conversations, and having a professional realtor using our brain to be able to identify some of those things and think for you, and maybe some things you haven't even considered.
Perfect. Okay. Number 3, for a mistake that we want to avoid as a seller, is overpricing your home. Especially in this market. Sellers sometimes see their neighbor's house sold down the street for a ton of extra over asking, and it's really common for sellers to feel that way. But in reality, what we always want to do, no matter the market, is price the home correctly. Price at home using the data, using the comparable sales to price the home in line with the market, not above or below.
And there's different schools of thought on this. And from a realtor, even within our community of realtors, there are people saying, listen, if the neighbor home was listed for $350 and it got $390, I should be listing my home for $390 if it's comparable. And we're saying, okay, that's a sale, but the market right now, everything else is showing us that we don't want to start at $390. And can we say we might get multiple offers going up there? But for us, we would rather price it right, as opposed to, and then let the emotion drive it up, as opposed to starting at $390 and people are like, crinkins.
Yes.
So I think that's the key too, is for us, we prefer to price it right, because the most damage you could possibly do is when you overprice a home and you let it sit.
Yes, exactly. So that's a huge piece of the puzzle, is making sure that the realtor you're working with is educated on the current market, not the market a month ago, not the market a week ago, but the current market, and that you have data to support the pricing strategy. And that's going to be the comparable sales, market sales, things like that.
In our previous Fridays with Friends episode that we released, it was our Q2 recap. You will hear all about that. So make sure you go back and you listen to that, which is all about what the market and what we are feeling, and why even more so it is important to price it right.
Definitely. Okay, so number 4 is not having professional photography, not having professional listing photos completed.
Guys, I have to tell you, when I first started, it was a decade ago, and iPhones were not what they used to be, but I started and I took my own photos.
You did?
And that was the norm back then.
Yeah.
Like, that was just what we did, and the fact that I had an iPhone that took nice photos, actually, I think I even had
I was going to say, do you have a BlackBerry?
I probably had some sort of a camera, and that's just what we did. But as all of the technology has grown, and honestly, as our business has grown and we've started to see the benefits of professional photography, it's not a question.
Yeah.
Professional photography will get you more money for your house.
It is a absolute must, and definitely a question that when you're chatting with realtors is such an important conversation to have, to make sure that that's on their marketing plan. Everyone knows everything is online now, and really the first showing is going to be online, whether that's a link from their realtor, whether it's on Facebook or Zillow, whatever that might look like. Everything's online now. And you all know when you see the pictures that are dark and gloomy, and they didn't make their beds and they did, when you have those pictures, it just creates an emotion and an energy before even stepping in the home. So our goal, and what our photographers do as well, is to make sure that the rooms really create a great first impression from the moment that they're listed.
Yes, I love that. And you can tell, just go on and look and you will see that. So be sure it's not just a professional photographer, because someone could say, oh, my iPhone pictures look good. It's the way everything just looks bright. It's the way the home is staged as well. So be sure, even though it's a seller's market and you say, I can get away with all of those things, I don't have to have professional photography, I don't have to do those things, we're here to tell you it's a mistake.
Yes.
And if you don't have a professional photographer, you are leaving money on the table.
Definitely. All right, let's get into number 5.
Number 5 is the biggest mistake, the number 5 biggest mistake that we see that sellers are doing is listing with a discount brokerage or a flat fee brokerage. Now, so many times people don't understand these. Now, I'm not saying this is 100% a mistake every single time. I'm saying it could be a mistake. And here's what I want you to think about. When I am representing you as a seller, you will be paying you'll be paying a commission, okay? And that commission gets split between the agent that brings the buyer and then the company that I represent, okay? In the market right now, 9 times out of 10, every single buyer has an agent. You cannot survive as a buyer without an agent right now. Everything moves way too fast. You will not win offers. You will not be able to write 27 offers up yourself. You will be exhausted. So that's why they have an agent. So what that means is you're not saving all of the commission, because if you list it by yourself, you still are paying that other side.
Or a decreased amount.
Or even a decreased amount, you're still paying that other side. So all you're actually saving is half of what that commission you would expect to be, if that. So that's a key that a lot of times people don't understand, is they think, oh, I'm gonna save all of the commission, but the reality is you're really only saving half.
3% typically
but not required.
Not required, but typically. So, and that's really, really important, because when you break it down for how much you're going to have none of the stress of maybe a discount broker or a for sale by owner or something. You're going to have the stress of coordinating showings, coordinating offers, coordinating open houses, staging the home, photographing the home, all of that. But you're also potentially leaving money on the table, which has really been a theme throughout all of this. If you or your discounted agent will say is not taking professional photos, properly marketing the home, properly staging the home, you're then going to have issues down the line with potentially not getting as much money, the best terms, things like that, which we talked about in number 1.
Yes, and I think the terms is kind of the important piece. Let me give an example. Let's say that you have a realtor that isn't educating you on the risks of going over asking. So let's say that my house is listed for $200,000 and we get an offer up to $225,000, and we also have another offer that's $215,000 but is cash. The other one is a mortgage. So the challenge that you're going to say is you would love opinions from that realtor to say, which one should I do? Well, if they're not day in, day out in the market, particularly locally, they won't know that we should go back to the first one at $225 to be able to say, hey, if the appraisal doesn't come in at that high amount because you went over list price, can you still buy this house? And that is so often that happens, is because you're going over list price, the bank may not say it's worth that, so they can't get a mortgage. If they can't get a mortgage, they can't buy your house.
And now your deal just fell apart in 30 days.
And then what happens when you try to relist it? People are like, something's wrong with the house. And you're like,
and your cash buyer already is closed on the other one.
So when the realtor's job is so much about getting it ready, but it's also about getting to the closing table and helping to find that right buyer, that again, it's this risk, trying to be as risk averse as possible when you have the realtor that's going to see all of these steps in the future that you might be missing. And of course you're going to miss it. You're not doing this all the time.
Yes.
So that's just an important thing, that again, there's a right time and a right place, and if you are the right person for those, that's great. But the important is that you're making an informed decision to be able to realize, 1, you're maybe not saving as much money as you think you're saving. 2, you may be losing money just because you're not pricing it right, you're not creating the right energy. And 3, you might not be getting the right terms that are going to maximize the money that you're walking away with and minimize the risk of something going wrong.
And I think a really key piece, just to kind of wrap up what you just said, is the education. as we've talked about so many times, if there's a realtor or is a for sale by owner, you might not know the day-to-day market and what they should expect to see. They haven't gone through tough deals in the past where, hey, this is what happened, this is how we got out of it, this is what I would recommend for you. Just the experience and the expertise and the education that comes from an experienced realtor is huge to prevent any issues down the line. We want to get you the best offer ever, but we don't want it to fall apart at 30 days.
Exactly.
Where you're more stressed than if you accepted the other one or whatever that might look like.
And we have dealt with people who have tried for sale by owner and then come to us. And honestly, they're like, oh my gosh, thank you. And we're like, yeah. So sometimes you do have to kind of go through that. But the key is these are just common mistakes that we're not making them up. These are things that we have seen happen and that we're realizing that the more we can let you know and educate our community on some potential mistakes, maybe that's not a mistake. Maybe you're like, I actually am going to go with a discount brokerage. Or maybe you're like, I'm actually not going to take professional photos. If you are educated and informed, you can make the best decision for your family.
Definitely.
And that's what it's about.
Yep, exactly.
Well, thank you for tuning in to Friday with Friends. Again, Friday with Friends is our opportunity to talk about what's going on in the market, answer any questions you might have, so that if you have any real estate needs, we would love the opportunity to be your realtor of choice.
Yes.
If you ever want to reach out to us, www.friendonyourside.com, or you can reach out to us on any social media platforms, and we will be sure to get back to you soon. We look forward to helping however we can.
Yes, we are pretty much wherever you can find us. We're there.
Can't get rid of us.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.